Be careful who you follow, part 2. In 1 Kings chapter 18, verses 1 to 2, it says, After a long time, in the 3rd year, the word of the Lord came to Elijah. Go and present yourself to Ahab, and I will send rain on the land. So Elijah went to present himself to Ahab. Now the famine was severe in Samaria. Then I'm going to skip to verses 17 to 19, that same chapter, chapter 18. When he saw Elijah, he said to him, Is that you, you troubler of Israel? I have not made trouble for Israel, Elijah replied, but you and your father's family have. You have abandoned the Lord's commands and have followed the Baals. Now summon the people from all over Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel, and bring the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table. So this is just a recap and reminder from last week that Baal was a god and Asherah was a goddess. And those are two things that the people of Israel chose to worship instead of God. And they were influenced to do this because of their king Ahab. He was the one that also married Jezebel, who was her whole family worshipped these idols. In verses 20 to 21, I'll go ahead and read those. It says, So Ahab sent word throughout all Israel and assembled the prophets on Mount Carmel. Elijah went before the people and said, How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. But the people said nothing. One of the best things about being a human being is that we have a personal choice. We don't go by instinct like animals do. We get to choose. I will summarize verses 22 to 35. Elijah told all of the prophets of Baal, You get a bull and I'll get a bull. We will sacrifice this bull to our God. You call on your God, and I'll call on my God, and whoever answers by fire, that's God. So from morning until the late in the evening, the 450 prophets of Baal were calling out to Baal and trying to get him to answer them by fire, and nothing ever happened. Then Elijah says to somebody, he said, I want you to get a whole bunch of water, and I want you to first dig a trench around the bull that we're going to sacrifice to God. So they built a trench around it. And then he said, I want you to pour water on it. 3 different times they poured a whole bunch of water on this bull that they were sacrificing to God. They poured so much water on it that it flooded the trench around the bull. So it was like a little puddle of water that was like encircling the bull that they were sacrificing to God. So not only was the bull wet, but he was surrounded by water. Now I'll read verses 36 to 39. At the time of sacrifice, the prophet Elijah stepped forward and prayed, Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you, Lord, are God, and that you are turning their hearts back again. Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked up the water in the trench. When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God. The Israelites worshipped other gods for so long that God chose to prove himself. that he is God in order for them to worship him. Notice how I said God did not have to prove himself. He chose to prove himself. Sometimes we're like this with God, but we shouldn't be. Sometimes in my own life, it's about me following me more than it is about me following God, and it shouldn't be. My encouraging scripture is going to be Psalm chapter 81, verses 11 to 14. It says, "But my people would not listen to me. Israel would not submit to me. So I gave them over to their stubborn hearts to follow their own devices. If my people would only listen to me, if Israel would only follow my ways, how quickly I would subdue their enemies and turn my hand against their foes."